On the Fringe with Dan RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. These next 3 days in history will be one of those things that we will always remember. Where were you on the 6th of January? People are going to remember where they were at. And we're also going to remember how this played out. Now, right now, there's really, in my mind, a big discussion around two separate timelines. And I don't mean to sound crazy, but two timelines, meaning there was a timeline, maybe earlier, where there was an expectation to be able to go to war and kill lots of people on the planet and kind of take over everybody and then have this communistic regime. And then there was this other group of people that are like, no, we don't want to do that. We don't want to kill off everybody. There's another way to go about this. Right now, there's two sides of this equation that both think they won. We're going to find out, as far as humanity, who wins in the end. Now, I do believe it's us. I do believe we have the numbers, and I think that's why they keep saying nothing can stop this now. But ultimately, like you, like me, we're going to see in 3 days what's going on. Now, today's the 3rd. Today's the day they're supposed to swear in all the new Congress members, right? And then the 4th, that's tomorrow. We've got Trump is going to do his rally for the election that happens on the 5th for the senators in Georgia. And then the 6th is a really big day. Now, again, to remind everybody, hopefully you're going to be out in D.C. if you can. Obviously, for some of us, it's really far, and there are no plane tickets right now that anyone's aware of. So, again, getting there, having a place to stay, there might be a lot of issues. So whether you're in for the day, whether you're going to bus in, I'm sure there's going to be some crazy stuff going on. Being a part of this is huge. I think there's more to it than just the show, but I also think it's a cover. And I think it's meant to kind of help the other senators do the right thing. We're getting a taste of what one timeline looks like and what the other is trying to get us to, as I keep calling it. In the old timeline, or the communist world that we are seriously this close to experiencing, I think we've all seen what they want to do. Good example, Nancy Pelosi's House rules. It's a blatant and cowardly assault. Dark day for free debate. Long story short, Representative and ranking member of the House Rules Committee, Tom Cole, issued a statement in response to the Nancy Pelosi's proposed House rules for the 117th Congress, including the elimination of gender terms. Gender terms. You're not allowed to say father, mother, son, or daughter anymore in the House. Literally removing those words from our vocabulary. They are so against binary terms. They are so against biological terms. They are so against, it's science too. Their science, I guess, doesn't include these words, but this is the world that they want. A world where you can't say what you want to say, where you can't just say stuff accidentally even. That they can either bust you, throw you in jail, whatever the case is. A world where New York Assembly Democrat introduces a bill to put COVID carriers into detention centers. Now, I don't know if you've been paying attention at home, folks, if you've got the home edition of the Couve game, but it seems people that get the Couve are Republicans only, right? Doesn't it sort of feel like that sometimes? I know there's plenty of examples of that not being true, and in fact, the friends that I know that have gotten it were both not Republicans. So, again, it's kind of a ridiculous thing I say, somewhat hyperbolic. But this is what they're talking about being able to do. Now, of course, it's New York, so there's no question as to what leaning angle that they're coming at this from politically. But they literally want to be able to lock people down. For a thing that's got a 99.9% rate of being fine. So, yeah, maybe the most infectious thing on the planet. I get you, and I'm not going to argue that. But what's super interesting is if you do get it, all of a sudden, one, you're going to gain immunity to it because of the antibodies. And then two, you got a 99.9% chance of being fine. Now, maybe you go through a bit of a bout. Maybe it's a little tough. You can't smell. But from what I'm hearing from a lot of people that have gotten it, I couldn't smell for a few days. Kind of sucked. I was a little fatigued, right? And that's about it. Most people don't even go to the hospital. A lot of people get tested because they want to or get worried. But again, they want to put people that are carriers in jail. This is such an infectious disease that everybody and their mother is going to get it, so we want to lock up a lot of people? Think about it. Think about how everything is played out. Think about the fact that in about 4 days, a lot of us aren't going to be allowed to say stuff anymore. Think about it. understand what's happening right now. There's a lot of things that we can't say directly because we've got to be very careful how we phrase. But there's a lot that is happening. I really do think, I think if not, it's a good analogy. There's two timelines that are occurring right now. And we're going to find out which timeline humanity has chosen. And like they said, and I believe this wholeheartedly, what happens to the United States happens to the rest of the world. So either humanity is going to have freedom, which we are born with. We are free creatures. We have the ability to do whatever we want. We have free will. It was the thing that the angels were jealous of us for. And we've got a group of people that don't want us to have that freedom. They want to control us. So what we need to do is we need to be aware of what's happening. We need to be aware of the things that they're trying to do to us so we can make sure we choose properly. Being out there on the 6th is going to be enormously key for, I think, a lot of reasons. And we're going to get into some more of that. Now, interesting, Nancy Pelosi had her house vandalized. Again, not celebrating this, not saying that's okay. I think it's very uncool that anybody would have their house vandalized. I don't believe in violence, vandalism, public property destruction. I don't think those are good things. So, again, I'm going to come out and say that. And again, Mitch McConnell experiencing the same thing. Basically, it's around the money, the stimulus package, getting the $2,000. And McConnell's like, well, I'm not gonna let this terrorism scare me from doing whatever the hell. All right, great, Mitch, thanks. Even though you've bailed out on the rest of the country, even though you've bailed out on Trump because you're a deep state person, and you've totally bailed out on what a lot of Americans have voted for, and you're not necessarily helping the situation as we're finding out. Now, of course, we're going to see what you choose to do on the 6th. And again, it only takes 1 or 2 senators and 1 or 2 House members to do the right thing to at least get us into a different set of waters, different territory. And I've got some discussions around that. Ted Cruz has some thoughts around that, and I want to talk about what I think he's trying to do, deep state. Sorry about that. I don't know, it's a cold or something. Maybe it's COVID. I don't know. But we'll see how that all plays out. But of course, people are pissed. People are pissed. Both sides of the coast. Well, Kentucky's not quite on the coast, but it's at least way the hell on the other side of the country. And then Pelosi over here on the West Coast. People aren't happy. They're not happy at all. Now, one thing that's happened that's super cool, White House Director of Trade and Manufacturing Policy, Peter Navarro, said in an interview aired on January 2nd that he was part of a 6-person team that briefed hundreds of state lawmakers on evidence of election theft. Remember this whole concept of evidence of the theft. Remember the idea of how much information has been given to us. Georgia, just ridiculous amounts. Pennsylvania, they broke their own laws. Wisconsin, they broke their own laws. Right? We had those 6 states that had 6 different dimensions of things that they could do for the vote, the way they counted, the laws, right, all the different factors, right? We've got like 4 or 5 of the states that are just hands down. I mean, 6 technically, but 5 of the states, hands down, is no doubt shenanigans happened. No doubt. I mean, you got Arizona, Maricopa County, you got Nevada, all sorts of crazy stuff, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Michigan maybe, but still, we got those 5. That's way more than enough electoral votes to push Biden under 270. Having Biden under 270 and Trump under 270, other things have to happen. Do we compare them equally? Well, the courts may have to decide. They might just literally have to. They can't just kick it down the road. It's like, well, they don't have 270. The Constitution says they need to, so what do we do? So at that point, is it who's got the most electoral votes? Well, Trump would be in that category if you take those 5 states away. Do we then do the delegate vote? The state legislatures do the vote. They get 1 vote each state. We don't know. The big part of why being out there on the 6th, being out visible on the 6th, being proud of the timeline we're choosing, showing the numbers, showing the silent majority. Huge reason why that's so important. If you were on the fence about possibly get out somewhere, get on Facebook, find something local to where you're at if you can't get to D.C. Find someplace local. Be a part of it. Trust me, just the numbers, just the energy alone will play an enormous difference. You might just think, I'm just one person. You as one person make a bigger difference than you realize. Please, put on your red, white, and blue. Get out there and make yourself known with your other friends. This is a big deal. There's ample proof that things happened. No court so far, best I can tell, 0 courts have kicked anything back on the actual merits of the case. Everything has been about standing and about procedural stuff. Nothing has been literally looking at the evidence. All these people that say, well, the courts have kicked it down, it's because they're cowards, because they don't want to do the right thing, but it's not been because they've looked at the evidence. Nobody so far has looked at the freaking evidence. You and me don't have a voice. We've got Mitch McConnell and Ted Cruz and all these people running around acting like we got a voice. No, we don't. Ted Cruz, you've been bitching about the tech industry for, last 4 years. Because I've really been paying attention a lot lately. And you have been a very vocal person, and that's been awesome. Problem is, you've done nothing. Done nothing. You've had all sorts of opportunities. You've made all sorts of noise. You look like a good guy, but you're not. Put your money where your mouth is, buddy. And we're going to get into why I'm extra pissed at him in a moment. After weeks of silence, lawsuits, Pence says he welcomes the January 6th Electoral College Challenge. I think this is interesting. There's some weird theories going on about him I'm going to get to in a little bit. And I don't know. It's crazy. I want to talk about them because I think some of these theories that are being put out right now, 10 days, that's the one with Ted Cruz that really torques me bad. And then this guy, there's some strange theories about what he should do. I want to talk about both of them because they're ridiculous. They're ridiculous theories, and there's reasons why they're ridiculous, and they sound deep state planted or deep state thought, or they're just hoping to get us freedom lovers to go along with these horrible ideas. I got 2 of them, and I want you to be very mindful of these going out in the next 3 days, especially come the 6th. This 10-day thing is not going to work. Let me explain why coming up here in a second. So again, Pence has come out. He said, no, I'm totally cool with this. Vice President Pence shares the concerns of millions of Americans about voter fraud and irregularities in the last election, said Mark Short, Pence's chief of staff, in a statement. It's kind of interesting that Pence doesn't actually use his own words. He has someone that speaks for him. If only Biden could do that. God, could you think of how much better his speeches would be? Anyway, off topic. The vice president welcomes the efforts of members of the House and Senate to use the authority they have under the law to raise objections and bring forward evidence before the Congress and the American people on January 6th. Again, this is where I think Pence should be. Should Pence be like, I don't accept your votes? No, I don't think that. What if it's a Democratic president and the Republicans may have won the election, but the Democrat vice president says, nope, not accepting them. Sorry, red state, not going to accept your votes. I just don't want to. I don't like them. They weren't done right. You misspelled my name. Whatever. I don't think, yes, is it in his right? Apparently. He is the head of the Senate. Yes. Like there's a lot. I get you. I get the argument. Do I think it's a good precedent? No. I think it's worrisome. How about that? And again, we'll see how it plays out. But I think he's right. The senators and members of the House, the people that directly answer to us, certainly on a state-to-state level, locally anyway, they're the ones that really should throw the flag out on the field. And that is what we're going to find out on the 6th. Now, we've heard of 100-plus House members, and there's a list of like 12 senators, which we're going to start getting into right now. Fox News seems to suggest Ted Cruz was previously pressuring senators not to join the January 6th fight, but then they're not really sure if that's what he said. So I got down here, a source familiar with the effort by the GOP senators told Fox News that it was Cruz who orchestrated the push just days before the joint session of Congress on Wednesday to officially approve the Electoral College votes electing former Vice President Joe Biden. I'll be honest, I'm almost 100% sure that's exactly what Ted Cruz said. Almost 100% sure. And then what happened was a bunch of people like you and a bunch of people like me freaked out. Freaking freaked out on this guy. Said, yeah, blah, 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 right? He probably just got an earful from all. He was like, oh, okay, all right. Plan B, because he's a deep state piece of crap. Plan B. He's not a piece of crap, because that's mean. That's probably cyberbullying. I don't mean that, Ted. I didn't mean that. I'm sorry. You're just a bad man. That's all. There you go. Much better. So, 12 senators, led by Hawley, by the way, which I think is very important. New blood, right? This guy over here, new blood. People hasn't necessarily deep stated enough yet. Super deep state, right? Major deep state. These two bastards on the right, not bastards in the sense they didn't have fathers, just in the sense that they're spiritually without fathers right now. All these 12 senators are supposed to object. And I think it's pretty safe to say even Ted Cruz is on board with that. Maybe even Mitch McConnell. But what they're going to suggest, which is exceptionally dangerous, is they're going to try to talk all of us into accepting a 10-day emergency audit. The first development was reported by Politico's Burgess Everett, who notes that Cruz led the senators in a joint statement. We intend to vote on January 6th to reject the electors from disputed states as not regularly given and lawfully certified, unless and until that emergency 10-day audit is complete. Ted Cruz, I do not like you. 10-day audit. 10-day audit puts us out at the 16th. The 20th is the day everything goes in. This is a stall tactic. This is meant to get the day where everybody shows up. Remember, one day where everybody's going to show up on the 6th. Do you think that's just so we can delay things 10 days? Do you think that's Trump's plan? Do you think that's why Trump keeps tweeting out, hey, come join us on the 6th? It's going to be wild. Okay? He's making no bones about the fact that something's going on the 6th. Our deep state friends want to delay that 10 days. Why would you delay it 10 days? Because all the people go back home, everybody thinks something's happening, and then on the 16th, when they come back and they say, yeah, so we didn't see anything wrong. The same people that want to have a 10-day emergency audit that don't feel like there's enough evidence already? Wait, what? You don't feel, Ted Cruz, that there's enough evidence already, so you want to do an additional 10-day investigation on top of the 40, 50 days of investigations that have been broadcast to all the American people, including your constituency. Yet you feel we need 10 more days to look into it. You're a slimy piece of crap. And I hope you never, ever get elected again. Period. Done. Howley, good blood. We got new blood coming in. So all the people that are signing on to this, I'm not surprised. I'll tell you what, these are deep state people. As much as people want to say that maybe even Marshall, right, that she's possibly from Tennessee, that maybe she's Blackburn, in Tennessee, that she's probably not deep state. Yes, she is. They're all deep state. They're all deep state. We've got new blood coming in. We'll see how it plays out. But honestly, and I think a lot of us that really, really have been following this for a long time, at best, there might be 20, 30, 40 total members of Congress that are not dirty as dirty gets. Literally. And 40 is a stretch. 20, I'd be like, yeah, I feel pretty good about that number. There's probably like 5 in the Senate, maybe. And then, a dozen or 2 in the House. There's not that many people. We're going to find out how things play out. But this is huge. The 6th is huge. So don't let Ted Cruz and don't let Mitch McConnell and any Marsha Blackburn, don't let any of these people talk you into this 10-day thing. The 10-day thing is crap. The 10-day thing is not what we're about. We're about things getting decided on the 6th, and we want people to vote on it on the 6th. We want the senators and congressmen to come out and throw their flags onto the field and say, we don't agree with these votes. Let's break apart a little 2-hour thing, and let's figure it out. And if we got to get the Supreme Court involved, which they've done in the past, this has happened many times. The press is like, this is unprecedented. No, it's not. It's happened a bunch of times. And in fact, typically, it's the Democrats that have initiated it. This has happened a bunch of times. 1877 was one of the biggest, supposedly. They cite the precedent, the race between Samuel Tilden and Rutherford Hayes, and, all sorts of alleged fraud. They didn't fight that, right? So we've got a number of days that come up. Yeah, down here. At the quadrennial joint session, there is a long precedent of Democratic members of Congress, raising objections to presidential elections results. They did it in 1969. They did it in 2001, 2005, 2017. And both 1969 and 2005, a Democratic senator joined with the Democratic House members in forcing votes in both houses on whether to accept the presidential electors. It's happened twice. They've brought it up a number of times. And, of course, the 1877 is the big one that they keep talking about. This has happened before. This is not the first time. Don't let the press tell you that. Don't let the AP tell you, this never happened before. Yeah, it has. Stop lying, AP. Get serious about doing the news again. This is ridiculous. Nevada's Secretary of State, busted. This is huge. They were apparently, and I heard it was a CC on an email. And to say that that was somehow a hack or anything like that is ridiculous, because anybody that's even barely into properly doing a hack, you don't put a CC on the emails that you send. You don't have your code do that. If anything, you're going to have a BCC, a blind copy, right? A blind carbon copy line where no one can see it. Or you just send one to yourself secretly and don't actually let anyone know you're doing it. But to actually have yourself on the CC line, that's absurd. This was probably intentional, and he got caught. He's like, I must have gotten hacked. No, you didn't. You intentionally CC'd this Pakistani company. It's becoming more apparent day by day that the deep state is allied media, and political interests, and their hatred towards President Donald Trump, that they are figuring out ways to steal this election. It seems, anyways, because there's many angles coming at it. Got retired U.S. Army Colonel Phil Waldron, who has been leading a team of forensic information technology analysts and examining voting irregularities in several key battleground states this election cycle. He revealed bombshell information this week regarding alleged actions taken by the chief election official in Nevada. Apparently this guy is he's been forwarding personally identifiable voter information to this Cavtech company. It's a private Pakistani-based business intelligence firm with close ties to the Pakistani Intelligence Services, or the ISI. And by the way, these guys fight a lot with India, who's supposed to be one of our big allies. Pakistan are people that we tend to get along with in general anyway, too. But they really hate each other over that whole Kashmir region stuff. It's really weird, deep, dark hatred going on. So a little concerning. Also, today is the 3rd. It's the anniversary of when that scientist was killed in Iran, right? The thing that a lot of people got upset about. Pretty much had Israel's fingerprints on it. Everyone wanted to blame Trump or Israel, whatever. Today's the year anniversary. Trump's already warned and said, hey, look, anything happens at all by you guys in Iraq, in Iran, anywhere, we will rain terror on you. And of course, Iran's like, this is Israel trying to drum up war between us and you. And that could be true. This could be a deep state ploy to try to get us to go to war. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. A lot of the times when it's deep state and they're trying to start a war, it's a little more indirect. It's oftentimes like they'll shoot rockets at a base, but generally not necessarily hurt any Americans. These kinds of things happen. Shooting at an American embassy, but not necessarily harming Americans, is sort of how the deep state rolls. They want to get political pressure, but they can't cross certain lines, because if they cross certain lines, they're guilty, period. And everything from a karmic standpoint and everything else, they're okay to be retaliated against. It's like, it's okay. You cross the line, you get damage. You go to jail, you don't pass go, you don't collect $200. So Iran is making noise. We're basically saying, hey, anything happens, right? But it's a deep state thing. The deep state wants us to go to war, or wants to try to take advantage of Trump being in the position that he's in right now. Again, pay attention to how things happen. If Americans are injured, and that's why Trump's very careful to spell that out. If Americans are injured, you're toast. Deep state, you cross the line, we're coming after you, full force. Deep state's not stupid. They're not stupid. There are rules, believe it or not. So again, be aware. We'll see how it plays out. Now, the situation update, this is the one that covered a very interesting thought process around what they think Pence should do. So they called a new strategy might be pursued by Pence, where he would announce he will resign from politics, then choose the electors for Trump, eliminating any conflict of interest that could be invoked if he stayed in office. Will he do this? First off, Whoever came up with this and then even wrote it down like it's a possibility sounds like they were talking to a 4-year-old. This is the stupidest idea I've ever heard in the history of ideas. Announced that he's going to resign from politics. All right, first problem. What happens if Trump actually wins? Is he getting a new vice president, I guess, because he has to now? Okay, that's weird. 2, then he's going to choose the electors. So he was the vice president, but now he's going to resign and then choose the electors, because that's not going to cause any conflict of interest. Nobody's going to think that looks or smells funny. Are you freaking serious? What, because he stepped down? He's still the vice president or ex-vice president. Are you kidding? So anyway, deep state's putting out a lot of weird, stupid ideas. The fact that someone's even not sure if he's going to do this, are you kidding? So again, this is a deep state story. You just got to get used to seeing how they come out. This is stupid. And again, Pence came out and said, look, I'm stoked that we're having this. And I'm stoked that we're going to have the votes. Should he be a dictator and overstep the bounds of really what the legislatures should do? I don't think he should. I mean, if that's the last-ditch effort, I think that's when Trump comes in with the military or whatever. I don't think that's Pence's place. I mean, he could object. He can say, well, this is what they've chosen. I object because of all the X, Y, and Z, but whatever. But ultimately, the votes need to be cast. We need to see who's on what side. And by the way, I do think we'll be surprised. I think there will be more people that will step up to the plate for the Patriots than I am giving credit for right now. I'm sure we have more than enough to make the ball roll forward, but I think a lot of people realize wherever you sign your name, little magic dust suddenly goes up to heaven and your fate is sealed one way or the other. Or it goes down, right? Glitter goes down too sometimes. So we'll see how things play out. It's going to be a very, very interesting time. Now, of course, the 6th, big deal. I'm going to play this with a little volume just so you get a taste of the music, because it's kind of that cool, powerful, inspirational music. Then I'm going to pause or silence the music and just let you watch the video part, because you'll just kind of get the gist of it. But it also might save me from any copyright strikes that could happen. So let's check this out. It's pretty cool. Cool music. I like that. It's almost like the X-Files episode. But again, big day happening for all of us, the 6th. Be a part of it. See these millions of people. Be a part of the millions of people. Trump's even talking about how he's planning on making sure he's out there and making his presence seen and known. Granted, he's going to be driving around in that freaking tank. But that being said, be a part of this. This is the biggest moment in our history, in our lives. No matter what age you are, this will be the single biggest historical event that happens in your lifetime. How we play a part in this is something we're going to remember forever. Do I remember where I was when the space shuttle blew up both times? Yes. Do I remember where I will be on the 6th when all of this is going on? Oh yeah, forever, forever. This will be a crucible moment as we keep hearing from Flynn. So again, we're hearing Donald Trump, I will be there. He is definitely planning on being there. Probably going to be presenting all sorts of stuff. He might live broadcast it on the emergency alert system. Again, this is going to be a one-shot attack. We know that blackouts are supposed to happen. We know censorship is supposed to happen. We know things are coming that are supposed to stop us. Possibly an EMP strike, a solar storm that might cause satellites to have issues. Again, be aware. Be prepared. You've literally got about 3 days to make sure you've got groceries and supplies, because things are going to get probably interesting on the 6th. And if they don't, oh man, who knows, right? Because again, that's where the military option might kick in. And I don't know how, I don't even want to speculate how that plays out, but I'll guarantee you it'll be really hard probably to have those discussions on this particular platform. So let's see how this plays out. Again, we've got 3 days for the final vote. And then from there, we'll see. But this is a big day. He's asking everyone to come out for a reason. Don't let people like Ted Cruz talk you into waiting 10 more days. No. Don't even come close to that. And don't think for a second that Pence is going to do something stupid like step down so he can vote against something like that won't have any repercussions. Really? That's absurd. Things are playing out. Be a part of the numbers. That's where we need all of the patriots at. We need to be visible. There needs to be drones flying over wherever you're at with red, white, and blue showing everywhere. Because this is United We Stand. This is standing up for the Patriots. This is Patriots Unite. This is all the hashtags that go around right now. This is it. If any of you guys can be a part of it, make sure you're out there. If not, try to get to a capital or try to get to some location where you know there's going to be a presence. Be a part of the presence. Be a part of the energy. That is what is changing this world for us. Where we go one, we go all. It's on the Fringe with Dan RadioStyle.